Hello everyone, how are you? So today we are live for taking another mind-blowing interview of very prestigious Bharatiya Youth Press of India awardee, Mr. Sogat sir. So he'll be joining with us soon. So he is there with us. Yes. So we are starting.
Hey, hi.
Hello, am I audible and visible?
Yeah, you are loud and clear.
Perfect. So, namaste and welcome to Bharatiya Youth Press of India platform. More than welcoming you, let me take a moment and congratulate you for being the final awardee of Bharatiya Youth Press of India Awards. Not just an award, but a recognition for your deserving and for your respective category. And let me also wish you Happy Gandhi Jayanti, 2nd October, and we Bharatiya Youth Press of India Awards, we believe and we function in the quotes, behind the quotes of Mr. Mahatma Gandhi, sir. Bring that change in yourself first so that you can bring that change in this world. And welcome you again, and looking forward listening you, having insights from your journey and everything. Yeah,
Thank you, buddy, and thanks for giving me this award and recognizing me. But honestly speaking, this award and everything wouldn't have been made any, value unless and until it was because of my readers, because it was just because of their kind words and their appreciation that I'm here. So yeah, we need to take a moment and thank my readers first of all, and the ones who believed in me, because I did not really start writing a book with a with a goal of writing a book. I just started to write the book just to vent out myself and just to make a journal of it, and I never put it out to the world. But somehow it just went ahead. It went ahead and it went directly to the readers, and they liked it, and here I am.
definitely, definitely. And that's the best part, that you are authoring a book and people are loving it, people are respecting your work, respecting your words, people are giving you feedback, giving you insights about what exactly do they feel when they read your book and when they read your writing. So that is the best part. And moving forward, we would really love you to tell us something which is something not ordinary about you, right? You think that something which you think is not ordinary about you, something extraordinary which you feel, because everyone has one or the other USP, right?
Right. See, honestly speaking, I am basically jack of all trade and master of none, because I can read. Sorry, I can read. I can write. I can I have been into singing, so I am a full time singer, not a professional though. And moreover, I have been into bodybuilding. I mean, yeah, I have been there into bodybuilding, been there, have been one of those people. And currently, I am a corporate slave, but a free bird by nature. So I'm basically by profession an HR manager. So yeah, that's more about me. Moreover, I started my writing journey long back in 2015, wherein I went ahead and wrote my first book. And as I told you earlier, when we had this award ceremony, that I started off my writing career being a novice, and writing started off as a escape mechanism for me when I was battling depression. I have no shame in saying that I was battling depression. I was into depression and I was battling it. And I'm glad to say that I am a survivor, and not even a survivor, I'm a warrior of that. So I battled it. I came out of it, and writing did help me a lot. So yeah, writing and men's physique, bodybuilding, fitness. So these were the two big escape mechanisms for me. Basically, I started off with writing. I started off with fitness, and both of those two things simultaneously helped me get out of this. And writing, for which I have been awarded, it started off in 2000. Like it didn't exactly start off in 2015 though. It started off like very less number of people know that my writing journey started off in 2012. However, it was like I took up writing. I took up someone came and told me that, hey, you write well, you should give it a shot. You should actually go ahead and do it professionally. I went ahead, like out of that boost, that yeah, I should go ahead and write. To 2012, I went ahead, bought a fancy notebook with an expensive pen, went ahead, started to pen down my thoughts. After 4 pages, I I lost my thoughts. Like, oh, what the hell am I supposed to write on that? But and then I just said, okay, bunk it. I just kept it somewhere, and that notebook kept lying inside my shelf till 2016. Right. Uh, 2016 was the date I like was the year when I was battling it. It was mid of 2016. I was battling depression, and I had nowhere to go. I was like, I was at a dead end actually. And then I realized that, boss, unless and until I start something, nothing is going to get right in my life. And that was when I decided that, yeah, I should do something with my life. Very less number of people would know that writing did not start off as my first preference. I took up gymming actually. So one day while I was going to my office, I saw a new gym outside my house. But back then I was in Bangalore. So I went ahead, went to the gym. I said, okay, how much do you charge for the memberships? He looked at me from top to bottom. I was a very fat guy at that point of time, somewhere at 96 kgs. I went to that place and I told him that how much would you charge for a 6 month membership? He told me a figure. I said, okay, here's my card. Please swipe it and get it done. So that was thing. I was like, I impulsively got it done. And gyms don't run for the whole week, right? There are 2 days when you sit back at home. So for the entire 5 days, I was working out and I was going back home all flustered, and then I would run back to the office. So I was you know occupied the entire day. But those weekends, I started to feel like, oh my god, like I started to feel empty because I had nothing to do, and moreover, you don't have an office on weekends. So there's this void which stays there. So I decided that what am I supposed to do? One day, I just looked into my cupboard, and that notebook was there, and I said, boss, should I write? Should I pen it down? What should I pen? Most importantly, and then something came into my mind. I said that why not write something? And that was where my first novel, The Loser, came into the picture. And it took me a year and a half to complete it. By 2017, it was done. Though I did not have that vision in my mind that I want to get it published, but somewhere or the other, I thought, why not? 2018, May 5th, I finished the digital copy of the book. I went ahead and got it published, got it to the publishing houses. 2018, I got it published to a publisher. I shouldn't disclose the name though. But the publishing house did not reject it, but the publishing house came up with a term and condition. So I did not read the TNC actually. They gave me a contract, and I took it up and I decided that okay, I signed it. I said okay, please go ahead. And the publishing house came back to me stating that I have to pay them around 21,000 pounds, 2,100 pounds. Back then, I was not able to afford that kind of a money because 2,100 pounds would roughly calculate up to somewhere at 2.1 lakhs. So I told them, look, boss, I cannot afford this. So they said, unless and until you pay us, we cannot go ahead. I said, okay, let's call this contract off and let me go ahead and try somewhere else. They said, that's not possible either. I said, what am I supposed to do now? They said, either you get it published with us or else we'll freeze your book for 2 years. I was a little bit disappointed and I said, like, man, my whole efforts for 3 years and it's ending up nowhere because I can't afford 2.1 lakhs right now. Moreover, I cannot afford my book to die either. But I had nothing else other than waiting. So by the end of 2020, I decided to give it another shot. 2020 August, when the entire period of that contract was over, I went ahead and got it published with another publishing house. Luckily, the publishing house took a look into my book, and because they asked me for the the transcript of the book, they went ahead, they read it, and the very first moment they read it and they just looked into it and they said, okay, yeah, we are ready to go with it. Within 5 days, the book was on the store. Like they did not even take time. They just gave me a mail and they said, okay, we are good to go with your book. Please go ahead. That was the day, and today is the day. I have already sold somewhere around 9,000 copies of my first novel. And moreover, the loser, as the name suggests, is no longer a loser. And today, with 9,000 copies sold, the loser itself has got me around 6 awards, and one of my second novels got me one more award, which got released in 2021 August. Sorry, April 2021. So my second novel got me one award, and my first got me six. So I am a recipient of 7 awards altogether in this year itself. Like 2021 itself came up to me at a surprise because I changed my job and also got 7 awards for my writing skills. So that's about me. Moreover, because the loser and my second book, I Quit, was more of a motivation and a psychological novel. I decided to try my hands into motivation. So I started off with my own foundation called Discuss to Solve, which basically serves people who are battling depression. So I started off with it. My colleagues were there who supported us. Today, we have already helped around 70 to 75 people, like in one whole year. We help them battle depression. None of us are professionals. All of us are coming from different walks of life. Somebody is a teacher, somebody is a journalist, somebody is a homemaker. But yes, we all join hands together to help people battle depression together. So it's a it's something which runs for free. We do it, and it's like we don't wait for the time or something. Somebody pings us at 4 in the morning or it's 2 in the morning. We have to be there to address that person, be it on phone call. If it is possible to meet, we can meet. If it is possible to get sorted on the phone call, we do it on the phone call, and that's how it happens. So that, yeah, that's about my life.
Okay. So the name of your first book, The Loser. So can you tell me why is the name of that book The Loser?
Look, people have started making the word the loser a word of a sarcasm, right? When they call someone, like, here's the loser, here's the loser. There are certain people who get disappointed, right? Everyone in our life, right? You, me, or the ones who are watching the show live right now, they know that at one point of time they too have been losers into something or the other, right? Probably someone has lost a game, somebody has lost their ambition, somebody has lost something or the other in their life. Nobody has achieved everything, right? The book The Loser actually focuses on that one particular aspect, that no matter what you lose in life, no matter what you achieve in life, everything is temporary, right? So if you're achieving something in life, don't be too attached to it, because that's gonna go away someday. If you are very much, if you're losing something, don't get too too disappointed because of that, because that too is going to pass. Which is why the word loser came into my mind, which means that the word loser, it's just a word, nothing about it's not going to determine your character anyway, right? Today you might be a loser, tomorrow you might become a winner. So that's how it happens. So this book revolves around a character who has got everything in his life, who has achieved heights in his life, and one day he loses everything. So, and he is left with two options: either give up and die an anonymous death, or maybe just do something to change the meaning of the word the loser. And of course, he chooses the second one, because he's born there, he's born to, you know, uh, make a mark. So he makes a mark by changing the word meaning of the word loser. So that's the base of my story.
That's really nice. And as we told in the prior part of our talk, change making. So this book I feel is a change making book is itself, because it is trying to bring the change in every individual, right? Trying to show them, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is, it
Definitely,
is.
definitely. That's pretty good. So this brings me to the next question. That since you told that your first book has gone approximately 9,000 plus sales, so what would be your advice to all the budding authors, maybe, or all the budding people, those who are fighting very hard to get a good sale when it comes to their book?
See, first of all, my suggestion to all the authors who, budding authors who are currently looking at my our life basically. When you're starting your book, my suggestion is not to look at the sales. Firstly, focus at the readership, because if your book is good enough, you will make numbers, right? But if you keep focusing on numbers at the very beginning, probably your book is not worth that, which is why you are just focusing on numbers. So when you know that your book is very good and people are going to read it, you are going to make numbers automatically. Moreover, other than that, you need a good you know you need a good strategy in rotating your book in the market, because if it's not well strategized and well promoted, that entire effort of you, maybe for years, maybe for months, is going to get wasted. So probably my suggestion to you is, choose a good mode of promotion. Probably if you have this budget to go for paid promotions, go ahead, get it done, right? If your publishing house is supporting you in terms of paid promotions, go ahead, take that kind of a thing, take help from your publishing house. So, if you are getting it done by a self-promoting company, go ahead. There is no issue in paying some extra cash to get your book promoted from the self-publishing companies, because they will not only publish your book, but they will also promote it for you. Moreover, see, making numbers is not the concern, because someday or the other you will make the numbers. At present, if you are a budding author, you should actually focus on the story, on the character you are working upon. Because if your character is not good, if your story is not good, numbers is just fictitious. You cannot even achieve that. So my experience and my advice to all the budding authors is that, first of all, go ahead, read through the story, go ahead and do proper research on your story. If you need a character, make it strong enough so that people can get that character imbibed in their minds. Because if the character is not imbibed in their minds, they cannot really connect to you. A book is something where you read the story and that character stays in your mind for hours and hours and hours. Like excuse me, like when you read a book, it should not be like, okay, book band kiya and the character vanishes out of your mind, right? It should be like, okay, what happens next? And the person should actually keep that keep that anxiety in himself or herself, that okay, I want to read ahead, like what exactly has happened now, what is going to happen later. So you know character building and the storyline should be of that kind of a quality. So first of all, for all the budding authors, my suggestion: firstly, build up your story, build up your character. So first, if your character and story makes a mark, numbers will follow. So yeah.
Okay. So this brings me to the next question. I read it somewhere, or maybe I have heard it in some or the other movies. Yeah, in the movie Two States, I guess, yes. In the movie Two States, I heard a line that स्टोरी में हीरो हो या ना हो, स्टोरी हीरो होनी चाहिए. So what is that heroistic story according to you?
See, I do have, I have watched that movie Two States, and trust me, I have watched that movie because, see, I'm a movie buff. So if I like a movie, I can watch a movie more than like 10, 20, even 50 times. I can watch it without, without any, without any scope of getting bored. And I did watch that movie, and did read through that lines. Most importantly, that movie was something which actually made me, that made me that much emotional, and drove me to write a book. Otherwise, I just, I did not have that ambition to be a writer, because I was a very, very simple guy with a very simple marks. Like, I was not even a very good student either. But yeah, that movie did drive me to write a book. So coming to that point, that heroistic thing, like the story being the hero. My story, like story which I wrote, the hero is the word loser itself, right? Because we always think that if we every time you go ahead and talk to someone and the person does not like you, this word comes up everywhere, right? Oh yeah man, yeah, yeah man, he's a sore loser. Or maybe just because of certain kind of a argument, someone or the other comes up with the word, oh man, what a loser he is, right? Or maybe just something happens and someone gets disappointed, and he or she just says, man, I'm just a sore loser, right? But the reality is that nobody is a loser and nobody is a winner either, right? Like, do you really believe that all those industrialists who are there in the market, who have achieved big heights in their life, aren't they losers somewhere? All these celebrities who we look at and we ogle at their lifestyle, aren't they losers somewhere in their life? They are. But yes, we what we have in our minds is that we keep on applauding their achievements, but we don't applaud what they have been through. We don't look at the dark side of their lives. The Loser, as a book, focuses on the dark side, which very less number of people do you know do not accept, or they do not want to look at. The Loser actually focuses into those dark sides. Like, see, if you are in a relationship with someone, right, someday or the other, if you get that kind of a scope, or you get that kind of a time when you are staying away from that person, there are certain times when you tend to get attached to someone else, right? That is a law of attraction. Similarly, when you are when you are along with some friends of yours, right, and maybe especially female friends, and you end up being alone with that person, somewhere or the other, you start developing that liking in that inside you. That is natural. Or maybe let's say you are at work and you have a whole pile of stationaries. You look at that very fancy stationery out there. You might not use it. You might not have any uh, you know uh, relevance to use it, but you would still take it, thinking that हाँ कभी तो use करेंगे, right? So we have those small things in our lives, but we do not accept it. The Loser as a book focuses on those things. Moreover, every time we lose something, like we lose on something, we face certain times of adversities. What we do is we start running out of it, right? It's more like when we have a diversion, we look out for a different route, right? But what if you have no other route and you have to take that same way, right? Because if you see that okay सामने रास्ता खराब है, पीछे जाने का और कोई रास्ता नहीं है, कोई शॉर्टकट नहीं है, तो आप उसी टूटे हुए रास्ते से ही जाओगे, भले आपके पैर में चोट आए जो भी आए, बिकॉज सामने आपको अपनी मंजिल पे जाना है, right? So the Loser actually shows that same design. Like no matter what the situations are, your obstacle is there. You have to cross that and you have to go. You don't have shortcuts. Loser focuses on that.
Okay, got it, got it.
That
And I must say, very well explained the heroistic story or a concept, very well explained, and kudos to you for that. So this brings me to the last few questions. So like in our society, there are like various authors in the community right now. There are various authors, right? You can see multiple amount of authors, and so what do you think when there are many authors out there? So there is a feeling of competition, jealousy, right? Some egoistic factors come in between. So what are your views on that particular scenario?
look, jealousy and ego and everything. It happens in every profession, right? If I am there as in if even I am an HR guy, right? I can see that let's say there are two people of the same kind of designation and same level. Don't they have jealousy? But we as authors are always looked down upon. Every time you see someone saying that I have someone who is an author, right? I have a friend who is an author. They start developing that thing in their mind कि यार author होगा तो मतलब यहाँ वो बेरोजगार है, author होगा तो मतलब वो झोला छाप है, author होगा तो वही कुर्ता पहन के हर जगह घूम रहा होगा. Especially I belong to Calcutta, like I'm based out of Calcutta. I'm born and brought up there. So Calcutta is a place where art is very much valued. But on the darker side, if you go and see, if you say that yeah, you know what, this guy writes, people start developing that either this guy is unemployed, either this guy is a drug addict, right? Because there's a place in Calcutta called the Academy of Fine Arts, right? So there's this place called Academy of Fine Arts, which is a heavenly abode for all the guys who are artists. So every day, like every evening, you will find a whole bunch of artists. Like someone is an art director, someone is a photographer, someone is a writer, someone is writing scripts, someone is an author, right? So you find them over there sitting together over a cup of tea or a cigarette, and they would be sitting and discussing about things. Maybe someone is writing his own script to give it out to some movie, because that is a place of that kind. And trust me, I have seen a lot of guys who are in that particular fraternity who are writing, and they actually look like one, like with that kurta and chola and everything.
It's a
Excuse me. I think I ran out of power. I need to come out and have a discussion. So yeah, coming back. So I did have, I have seen people developing that kind of a mindset about writers and authors, but we are not like that. I can show you many examples of authors who have been through a very normal life, who have been through a very common belongings, common beginnings, but they have achieved heights. Like during that award function we had the other day, right? You might have seen a lot of people who come from a very humble beginning. They have either been into some kind of a profession. Somebody was a homemaker, somebody was a lawyer, somebody was a doctor. So yeah, we authors are of that kind. We don't need a tag of a jhola chap or an unemployed author. We are authors, but yes, we are also doing our job pretty well. It's not that we are writing for our own for earning money. Talking about jealousy and egos, yeah, we do have ego clashes. We do have jealousy of someone achieving good numbers and someone not. But in the end, what I think is that every author, or each, like all of the authors, have to stand by each other, because unless and until we stand by each other and we support each other, this fraternity is not going to last. Because see, the writing fraternity is a big industry if we have to compare it with the film industry or the or the other entertainment industry, music or entertainment. Because every day I was reading through an article. I can give you an example. Like every day we see more than 100 like more than 100 people in every city coming up with that, with a book, right? But what happens is that 100 every 100 readers or every 100 writers who publish their book, around 90 of them don't publish their second book. Why? Because they see that, okay, I'm not making numbers from the book, and they just give up. It is just because the other writers are not supporting. Moreover, I have seen there are certain number of people who go ahead and say that, okay, I am going to support you in writing a book, but they just say and they just ignore it. Or maybe they just give them the opportunity. ठीक है, I am writing an anthology. You can be a part. But यार anthology का part होने का मतलब ये तो नहीं है कि उसको फायदा मिलेगा. Because if I am writing an anthology and I'm asking for co-authors, I can only see that, you know like I can see that person, that this person is writing the book and he's giving his all his efforts to write a story, but the entire money is coming to the writer's pocket. The co-author is not getting a single penny. It's only that the co-author's name is coming into the book, but in the end the entire effort is not paying off. So the authors have to come up with that sense of supporting for all the other authors, the budding authors, so that the industry can grow. Because writing industry is one of the most creative ones, and it is on the same comparison of the movie industry and the music industry. Because writing is the key. Because if you don't have a good story, you cannot run a movie or a web series or a TV show just like that with good actors. The story is the king, right? And all the writers need ample support, because without that level of support, the stories or the writers will not grow. And only the good ones and the ones with the with all those fancy names, right, they would make numbers. And the ones who don't have those fancy names or big support, they would just vanish away from the market. And probably after writing one book, they will just walk off.
Exactly.
So my suggestion is, or my observation is that we need to be each other's support, rather than just being unsupportive and just saying that, okay, आप मेरे लिए story लिख दो, I'll give you a part in my anthology. Anthologies, I honestly don't believe in anthologies, right? Honestly, like even I was looking forward to write an anthology, but I realized that every second or third person writes an anthology and makes numbers, makes huge numbers. But the one who has co-authored the anthology just gets the credit, nothing else. And then that person is forgotten. The one who has compiled the anthology gets the name. So yeah, I don't believe in that. Rather, I would, if I see someone who is a good writer, I would rather go ahead and say that, boss, I'm going to support you in publishing the book. You don't need to worry. And that's what I suggest, that the writer jealous of each other.
Exactly, and that's the main point I asked this question, because we have seen that not only the average author, those who have started, but the bigger ones, those who have brands and, as you told, fancy names, they are doing these things. So how can we expect the others to do, right? It's a community, and communities should be together.
See, I'll tell you one thing, right? Uh, we came up in 2020 with this term called favorite favorism and nepotism, right? It became a matter of debate, actually, right? People started saying that, yeah, nepotism ho raha hai, nepotism ho raha hai. Nepotism is not bad, right? If I have someone who I know is very good at something, it's good to go ahead and say that, yes, boss, you can go, if you are good at it, go ahead and try it. But people started making that a very big fuss, because, and moreover, I'll just give you an example, right? If you are doing, if I know that you are a good guy and you can write well, there's no harm in going ahead and referring you a book, even though it holds my name to it. Just because you are a good guy and I'm supporting you does not make me that kind of a guy who is endorsing nepotism or favorism, right? That's the same thing which I believe, that when it comes to book writing, because book writing or script writing or poetry or any kind of a written art is not that rewarding, even though if it is vast, because every day if you open Instagram, right, you can see a lot of budding authors writing their poetries, one liner poetries. If you open Facebook, if you open Pinterest, if you open other vlogs, sorry, blog on Blogger, you can see a lot of guys who have so much of passion and potential. They are writing such nice quotes, and they are writing such nice lines. They are writing such nice poetries, but they are not getting that kind of a support. Why? Because the ones who have already been there in the market, they are not letting the others get into it. They say that अपना market खत्म हो जाएगा. भाई अपना market कैसे है? This is not your market. This is the reader's market. This is the reader's market. The readers have to choose who they want to read. You cannot choose what the readers want to read. Moreover, ये तो आप ऐसा कर रहे हो कि आप खुद बोल रहे हो कि आप खुद एक होटल चला रहे हो जहां पे आप बोल रहे हो कि मैं चूज करूंगा कि सामने वाला क्या खाएगा. आप कस्टमर को चूज करने दो ना कि वो उसको क्या खाना है. कस्टमर जो चूज करेगा वो आपको सर्व करना है.
Exactly.
एंड दैट इज व्हाट आई बिलीव.
Monopoly, right? Monopoly.
I don't. That is the thing, right? If the good writers or the established writers stop their monopoly, then only we can expect that some budding authors can come up and make their mark. Otherwise, the entire market is going to die. You can also see that there are many well-known authors who have now become maybe film directors or maybe TV show directors. They have directed web series. Like, for example, no offenses to anyone, they are very good writers. I have seen Chetan Bhagat becoming a cinema director. I have seen Durjoy Datta making a TV web show, right? So I do understand. I do understand that, yes, they know that their story is king, but that does not mean that they would say that नहीं मेरा market खत्म हो जाएगा.
Plus, I have
Because I have seen good writers who are coming up with the same thing.
exactly. Plus, I have also seen. I won't name the author. You must be better getting that. So, I have seen an author who went as a chief guest in the dance reality show, an author going into chief guest, and so it was a big, like, a thing to be laughed upon, because see, you are not a dancer, A. B, you can go the chief guest, but you can't judge a dancer. A dancer can be judged by a dancer only. A dancer can't be judged by an author. That's not how things work out, right? But
See, the entertainment industry is as such, wherein especially with with the TV and the cinemas getting evolved in the market, you cannot look for sense nowadays. If you can fly a car in the mid-air with no sense of physics, you can do anything, right? A writer can go and judge a dance reality show. That's possible.
like I didn't saw that episode, but I heard from many people, right, that this was the author. He went into this reality show, and like the whole script, they told me, and I was like,
No, that is the irony. Honestly speaking, that is the irony. Because if we, get out of this kind of a hypocrisy, that was, he is a writer and he has written one book, two books, three books, no matter XYZ number of books, right? And the books have been a hit. See, most importantly, for every budding author, your books make you as a brand, right? But yes, it is also important that you don't get too complacent that हाँ मैंने दो books लिख दिया और मेरा brand बन गया. Your name does not become a brand after you write two good books. You have to carry that name forever, because one bad book, one kind of a one stupid thing you write on the book, and your name gets tarnished right away. See, if I have to talk about writers like India, I'm not taking references of foreign writers. I'm talking about the Indian writers only, right? So, when I talk about Indian writers like Chetan Bhagat, I'm talking about Durjoy Datta, Ravinder Singh. They started off with some real extraordinary books in the market, right? And that gave them a very good platform, and their name skyrocketed. But later, when they started writing the same kind of books, people started getting really really exhausted, because they got really pissed off with that same kind of book being served in different ways. आपको अगर कोई पनीर की सब्जी अगर 10 बार एक ही अलग अलग तरीके से खिलाएगा तो आप बोर हो जाओगे. That is the same thing. They really got really bored out of that same kind of book. Moreover, what happened? Chetan Bhagat came up with a book with a different design, probably with a crime story, and that book bombed in that book tanked in the market, right? Because Chetan Bhagat knew that I am a guy who writes in a different style. If I go and write in a style of a crime thriller novelist, probably that will not make a mark in the market. Which is why it is very important to ensure that you know your skill, you know what you're good at writing, and you write in that way. I'm not demeaning anyone, and I'm very much open to tell everyone that yes, boss, you can go ahead and try to experiment on your stories, but experiment on your stories when you are very much sure that yes, your experiment can be successful. Maybe if you are a romantic novelist and you want to write something into the genre of crime, you have to do a very strong research upon things. You have to make sure that you read between every certain lines you can find upon, because unless and until you read upon those lines, you cannot write a good book. एंड मोर ओवर क्या होता है, फिल्म आप देखते हो 3 घंटे के लिए देखने के बाद वो फिल्म खत्म हो जाती है, आप सो जाते हो, कहानी 1 घंटा 2 घंटा, एक दिन 2 दिन अपने आपके दिमाग में रहती है, फिर वो चली जाती है. When you read a book, you read for let's say 200-300 pages. That story remains in your mind. So the impact of the book is more. So you have to ensure that what you write has to be pitch perfect. Unless and until it is perfect enough, you cannot go ahead and expect your book to be a bestseller or to be loved by all. Forget about being a bestseller.
Exactly. That's the crux of whatever we discussed in the live so far, and that's the perfect summarization of what you interpreted and told, an exact practical picture of the literary world, right? exact picture. So now I think we should wrap up the meeting because it's quite a time, and we need to also publish this into the podcast, right?
Absolutely. Meanwhile, I was just reading someone asking a
Yeah, I guess
question.
there
He asked
one
like,
question. Yeah.
what kind of steps should be taken to promote, preserve, and protect literature from the work of Indian extinct languages by Omphalos of Tales? Okay, so buddy, I'll just I have already answered this question earlier, right? To promote, preserve, and protect your literature, you have to be supportive to each other, because every one of us are are a brand, that we have to support each other first of all. Maybe I might not write that kind of a book which people want to write, want to read. My style of writing could be different, somebody else's style could be different. Probably I, as a writer who has sold more than 11,000 copies of two books together, some might not have that kind of a skill set of writing that book, but someone who is a novice might be a better writer from me. But I should not shy away from coming ahead and saying that yes boss, this guy is a better author from me, and he should actually go, he should be
Exactly.
supported. So yes, support is most important. Mostly more than the support and everything, when it comes to you know uh, to promote and protect the literature, it is very important to choose the words wisely, right? Even if the words are raw and it is raw, it is very much of a colloquial kind. We have to ensure that we use our words wisely, because certain times when we see that our target group or the readers group is not of that kind of a mindset, we might see the after effects of that, which might not be good. So my suggestion is we have to first choose the target audience who are writing the book, choose our words wisely, and most importantly support people who are writing this book. Because even if there is someone who is a novice writer, who is like who is saying that I don't know the w of writing. I myself, being an author of two books, I did not know what to write. I don't belong from a family of writers. I don't come up with a writing aspiration. I wrote as an experiment, and I myself call myself an experimental writer. But yes, someone who has that passion of writing needs that kind of support. Unless and until that person gets the support, the growth or the flourishing of that particular writer is not possible.
That's perfect.
So yeah, that's how I answered your
No,
question.
no, that was perfectly fine. And thank you for coming in and for accepting our invitation for the live session. And we wish you all the best for your coming projects, coming books. And yeah, namaste.
Namaste.